Okay, hello everyone. I apologize for the lack of editing. It's just that tonight I've got a lot of things to do, but I realized I've seen a lot of Chinese films recently, and I haven't taken the time to actually discuss them, talk about them, review them, or anything like that. So I wanted to quickly share my thoughts just in a few minutes about a recent big film in China called The Wandering Earth. You would know this is a sci-fi film. Most people call it a sci-fi film. It's too fantastical for me to call it sci-fi. It's more like fantasy to me, but it lacks, of course, the typical fantasy elements of magic and magical beings and things like that. But for all intents and purposes, you could just say it's a sci-fi film. But anyway, I went to see it with a friend of mine, and whenever we no, I'm sorry. I went to see this film with my girlfriend. I saw a couple of other films with a friend of mine, but this particular film, the cool thing is if you happen to be in China and you're thinking about seeing it, it does have subtitles. The movie is mostly all in Chinese. It does have a little bit of other languages in it, primarily some English, because the film itself is kind of like an international film. It's it presents the story of the international community working together in order to move Earth. That's not really a spoiler because, I mean, that's the name of the film is The Wandering Earth, and you can kind of see that. But the whole idea is that they're moving the Earth, and I won't go into any detail in case you haven't seen it. If you're thinking about watching it, then there you go. Now, really quickly, is it worth seeing? Yeah, I think so. If you play games, and I'm not a gamer, but several years ago, a friend of mine got me into playing the game called Gears of War. I think we played the first two all the way through together. And when I watched Wandering Earth, that's how I felt. I felt like a lot of the equipment and a lot of the design, the way the movie looked and felt, was like Gears of War. And when the guys got into these big trucks and drove these trucks, the way everything looked and the way everything moved, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that the special effects guys had taken a lot of ideas from games like Gears of War, in particular Gears of War. I mean, I don't, like I said, I'm not a gamer, so I haven't played a lot of other games. So I don't know if I know if several other games look like Gears of War. But I will say that because of that feeling, it caused me to like the movie a little more because I have fond memories of Gears of War. But as far as it being believable, well, I'll say this. The budget, I believe, when I looked it up, I believe that it said it was about $58 million. Now think about that, a big special effects movie at just $58 million. That's probably about $150 million less than what this movie would cost in America, or a Hollywood film, rather. No matter where it's shot, it doesn't matter. They always spend a lot on these big special effects films, but I will say this, for a $58 million film, it's outstanding as far as the way it looks. Now, if they had spent $100 million on it, I wouldn't have been surprised. That's the thing. I thought that the budget would have been around $100 million or more, because I believe a couple of years ago they spent on the Monkey King 3D movie. I think it's Monkey King 2, but it's in 3D. The special effects and the celebrities they had in it caused the budget to go way up, I think over $100 million. And that movie was just terrible, just absolutely terrible. But I can't remember why I went to see it. I think it was because of the actors that were in it. I wanted to see them. But anyway, this particular movie, if you're looking at seeing it even in another country, I think it's worth seeing. If you really like sci-fi movies, then I think you'll definitely like it. Of course, like pretty much all sci-fi movies, it has stuff in it that's unbelievable. Does it have a really deep story? No, not at all. It's pretty straightforward. And I mean, there are a couple of little sub things going on, but I feel like because I'm in China and I've gotten to where I kind of understand some things in the culture, sometimes they present some moments where they're going on the like for example, I don't want to talk about it because there's one point in the movie, if you're a native Chinese, most people will cry, and the friends that I have around me here, my Chinese friends, they told me themselves that they either cried at that moment or they felt like crying. Many of them said this, but I, at that moment, had a completely different reaction. I just rolled my eyes. And the reason I rolled my eyes is because in this culture here, they're always kind of pushing on the people the importance of respecting your parents, you know. And to me, it's out of balance. So I feel like for me, I'm a dad and a son and a brother. I have a sister and a brother, my mom and dad. My mom passed away over a year ago, but of course I have parents and I have a daughter. So I can look at life through different ways. And I feel that, you know, here culturally, there's a big imbalance between the respect that people have for their kids and the respect that they demand that the kids have for their parents. So, you know, even some people will say that they can't marry a certain person, no matter how much they love them or want to be with them, because their parents, the influence they have. And there's always this, you know, this parental fealty that they're preaching. And I feel like in this movie, it comes out even in this film. And I would like to talk more about that, but I don't want to give it away too much. But the main father in the film, he has to sacrifice a lot of his time with his son in order to be part of this project, the Wandering Earth project. And so his son basically kind of grows up without his dad around, and his son really gets upset because of that, because his dad wasn't there. And but then later on, his dad kind of comes back into the picture a little bit, and I won't tell you what happens there, but basically it gets a little preachy. And it's at that point that a lot of the moviegoers here in China, you know, have tears in their eyes because, you know, oh, his dad, oh, you know, what he's saying, the things that he's saying. And I was just shaking my head because to me, it's just more brainwashing that, you know, you have to have all this respect for your mom and dad. And no matter what they do, you know, they're your mom and dad, you know, no matter what they do to you, you must always, you know, give them the respect, right? But anyway, I would say as far as a story goes, it's just, I mean, the poster itself gives away the story. They're going to move the earth because of, you know, something happening with the sun. That I don't consider that a spoiler. I mean, that's just part of the basic story. There's no surprises in the film. It just has a good bit of CG. It's tons of CG. It's obviously CG, but I didn't find myself too annoyed with it because it was pretty much consistent straight across the board, and I felt like I could accept that. Anyway, that's all I really got to say for it. I would say that if you're interested in watching a Chinese sci-fi movie, or if you're looking for another Chinese movie that you think might be good, I'd recommend watching this one. It doesn't have a deep story, no plot twists or anything like that. Nothing really surprising in the film. It did have a couple of good moments, and visually it's not bad. It's obviously computer graphics, but I will say that based on all the other Chinese movies I've seen so far, the special effects in this one are much, much better. And considering how they did it for such a low amount of money, so much cheaper than what they made the Monkey King, which was basically garbage in special effects. It's just that Monkey King, they tried to be like all outlandish and stuff, and it was ridiculous. But this film, straight across the board, was definitely not bad at all. So you can check it out whenever you have the chance. And that's all I got to say. I'll cut it short, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks very much. Next time, by the way, I will let you know. I give you a little update on the latest things that I've been watching. I've been watching Wang Jun Kai, Carrie Wong, the lead singer of 4TF Boys. I've been watching his TV program, his TV show. In English, it's called Eagles and Youngster. It's a very strange, kind of a Chinglish name. But I'll let you know after I watch a couple more episodes. I'm about to watch another one now. After I watch a couple more episodes, I'll do a review on that. You can actually watch it on YouTube for free if you're interested in doing that. Maybe I'll put the link in the description below. I'll also put a link to the Wandering Earth preview, and I'll put a link to the other to some other theatrical previews of the other Chinese movies I've watched recently. Because I also watched a Jackie Chan film and a couple of others, and there's one I watched the other day that was really good, except the ending was, I think it could have been a lot better. It was a racing film, but well, I'll get to that. Anyway, thanks for listening up until now, and I hope you guys are having or had a great Lunar New Year. I'll see you later, and